Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and this is my detailed review of the Ford Racing Performance Improvement Intake Manifold, available for all 96 to 04 Mustang GTs equipped with PI heads. You should be checking out the Ford Racing Performance Improvement Intake Manifold if you've already swapped or plan on swapping over to the very popular PI or Performance Improvement heads with your 2-valve GT and therefore need a very affordable performance intake manifold solution. Now this would also be a great option out there for all 2001 to 2004 GTs who may be suffering from a damaged factory intake manifold and are looking for an exact reproduction of that manifold. A lot of you SN guys probably already know, but making the switch over to a set of PI heads is a very popular and very affordable way to get some more performance out of your 2-valve GT. The best part is, guys, you can find these PI heads everywhere and for super cheap because Ford used them on a lot of stuff, including the F-150, the Explorer, the Crown Vic, and of course the Mustang. Those PI heads were introduced back in 1999 and were immediately a huge improvement over the non-PI heads in many different aspects. The heads flowed a lot better than the factory non-PI heads, they had a much hotter cam, and the combustion chamber was actually reshaped slightly, raising the compression ratio in the process. Altogether, this all resulted in a pretty substantial bump in power. How much power exactly? Well, non-PI head-equipped 2-valve GTs were putting down an advertised 210 horsepower. With the PI heads, the car was now making 260 horsepower. So again, a big jump in power. Now with the totally redesigned heads and that hotter cam, Ford had to totally redesign the intake manifold to keep up with that better flowing top end, and that's the intake manifold we're looking at here today. Again, guys, this is the same exact manifold used on all 2001 to 2004 4.6 liter Mustang GTs, making it a direct bolt-on as you might expect. Now this pretty much is still a direct bolt-on for all 1999 and 2000 GTs. However, you will need one additional part, basically an alternator bracket, but that's about it. Now I do want to point out, guys, that you can actually use this intake manifold on non-PI heads and still get a nice gain in power, although some additional work is necessary. It's really not as bad as you might think here. You just need a set of the PI gaskets to go in between the manifold and the heads, and you will need to get some gasket maker to go around one of the mismatched water jacket areas. Might sound a little shady, but honestly, it's not as bad as you think. In fact, a lot of people do it with great results. The Ford Racing Intake Manifold has been constructed from a black composite material and features an aluminum crossover here, as you can see, and has an effective RPM or operating range from basically idle to about 6,000 RPM. Now there are better options out there for higher revving engines, so maybe if you're planning on building a nasty all-motor setup using a big cam, you want to turn a higher RPM, you might want to check out the Victor Jr. from Edelbrock as opposed to this intake manifold here. I do also want to point out that you can use aftermarket throttle bodies and aftermarket intake plenums with this intake manifold from Ford Racing. In fact, it's something many of our customers have done, and they have reported great success in doing so. Feel free to read up on the 100 plus 5-star reviews on this product back on the product page. You just might get a little better idea of what to expect when installing. On the topic of price, guys, again, I think you'll find this to be one of your more affordable options when it comes to your 2-valve GT for aftermarket intake manifolds, especially when compared to some of your other options here on the site, landing you right in the mid $200 range. Now your install is definitely going to differ here, guys, depending on your year, of course, and also depending if you plan on doing this intake manifold swap along with the head swap, or if you're just going to do the intake manifold by itself. Regardless, before you get started with the install, make sure you get a fresh set of gaskets from the intake manifold to the head, and also don't forget a fresh thermostat gasket along with some fresh coolant. This one will definitely test your toolbox a little bit, so just make sure you have a decent set on hand before getting started. And also, you're going to want to make sure you have something on hand to catch the coolant when you do make the swap. Now, if you're doing just the manifold by itself, I'm going to say 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Really not too bad here. But if you are doing this with the full head swap, it's going to raise it to a full 3 out of 3 wrench job. Overall, guys, just leave yourself a few hours in the garage or driveway to get the manifold in place. The Ford Racing Performance Improvement Intake Manifold is a great performing, budget-friendly intake manifold for all SN owners out there with PI heads and even those without, as we talked about a little bit earlier. So be sure to check out an option for your 2-valve GT right here at AmericanMuscle.com.